Tension hung thick in the air as the secret and important deal went awry. Jungkook's usually controlled demeanor slipped, and his anger boiled over. He approached the dining table, putting both hands on it in deep anger. He punched on the table a few times before throwing away the glass on the floor, shattering it into pieces. Vine, ever the calm in his tone, came running from her room and approached him cautiously. "What's wrong, Jungkook?" she asked, with her voice being a soothing balm. He clenched his jaw, the tension in his shoulders betraying his inner turmoil. "Everything is falling apart, Vine. This deal was crucial, and they have decided to cancel it, let alone confirmed it with their rivals." In that moment, Vine saw beyond the fearsome Mafia lord. She saw a man burdened by responsibilities, a man who, despite the fear he instilled in others, felt the weight of the world in his shoulders. In the gritty underworld of Seoul, where shadows whispered of hidden alliances and dangerous rivalries, Jungkook stood as a formidable figure, a Mafia lord whose name sent shivers through the spine of even the bravest souls. His reputation as a fierce and respected leader was known to all, but within the walls of his home, a different side of him existed, a side only Vine, his forced bride, had the privilege to witness. Vine, in stark contrast to her husband, was a serene presence, calm, polite, and compassionate. She navigated the intricate web of the underworld with grace. Their marriage had been orchestrated by their parents, a union steeped in duty rather than love. In the dimly lit rooms of their lavish home, their world collided in a dance of secrecy and unexpected connection. Jungkook's anger was a tempest, unpredictable and fierce. It could be triggered by the slightest provocation, real or perceived. Vine, however, had learned the delicate art of taming the storm that brewed within him. "Come with me," Vine said gently, guiding him to a secluded part of their home that held a secret known only to the two of them. Behind a hidden door, a small garden bathed in soft moonlight awaited. It was a residence where Jungkook could shed the armor he wore for the world. As they stepped into the tranquil garden, the distant sounds of the underworld faded. Vine took Jungkook's hands in hers, feeling the tension gradually release. She led him to a stone bench surrounded by fragrant flowers. She instructed him to sit on that bench, where she sat alongside him, putting her hand on his chest as she pointed her finger to the moon in the dark night. It showed a pleasingly aesthetic scene as she said, "Look at the moon. It's alone, but still shines, right? You're going to take care of this, because I believe in you." She looked at him intensely in the eyes, increasing the tension between them as she said, "You are not even alone. You got me, she said, having a serenity in her voice. He fell for her at the moment. He looked in her eyes so deeply. Facing those eyes, he could forget the infinite amount of suffering, let alone a deal, couldn't get over him. He obeyed, allowing the serenity of the secret garden to envelop him. Vine's gentle touch became a lifeline, grounding him in a reality beyond the chaos of his underworld empire. She put a hand on his cheek as she leaned on him while saying, "Imagine a place where there is no darkness, only peace." Vine whispered, "Focus on the sound of your breath, the scent of the flowers. Let it wash away the anger." He heard those calming words in his ears that had no effect on him. All that calmed him down was her mere presence so close to him. He could smell her breath from that closeness and hear her heartbeat. Why should I focus on the sound of my breath or the scent of flowers when I could just focus on you and smell that serene, fragile scent of yours?" He said while holding her hand that was on his cheek, having a deep tenor in his voice, making her fall head over heels for him. Her breath got stuck for a second as she looked in his eyes. They looked intensely at each other until they closed their eyes together, while the cool breeze hit their bodies as they felt a wave of romance in their veins. They leaned in closer to each other and crashed their lips upon one another. A gentle, soft kiss with no sense of extreme makeover, just trying to feel the flow. The calmness that he felt at that moment was unexplainable. All he knew that he could stay like that for an eternity and still not get bored of it. Wine, on the other hand, felt the tension releasing from his body as she could sense the love and warmth that he provided in that one kiss. They tasted each other's tongue for a while until she broke the kiss, making him open his eyes and come back to the reality he doesn't want to live in. He opens his eyes and sees her. The first thing that made him feel blissful to just look at. His eyes softened and his lips bent to have a smile on his face. He felt calm as he tried to forget the burden that was lying on his back. He leaned on her, putting his head on her lap as she brushed her fingers through his hairs. They looked at the full moon together and felt just like it, complete. They realized they were complete, whole at the moment, filling each other's insecurities and weaknesses. "Jungkook, it feels unbelievably good. Thank you," he said as he closed his eyes and hugged her lap, trying to hide in her embrace. She patted his hairs and said, "If you're fine, then it was worth it." He smiled, hearing her. They stayed like that for a moment, and he got up from his lap, looking in her eyes as he wanted to spend more time with her. "Jungkook, I was thinking, the scene is so beautiful. How about we make it more wonderful by dancing in the middle of the garden. Fine. Dancing? All of a sudden? She asks, shocked by the sudden suggestion, unlike his usual behavior. Jungkook, without saying anything, stood up in front of her and offered a hand. She couldn't ask for any more at that moment. The husband she asked for and wrote in her dream book, she saw it today in front of her eyes. She couldn't help but go with the flow and move in sync with him. She looked at it for a few seconds before accepting it gladly. They ran towards the middle, and he grabbed her waist, putting his fingers into hers. He bore his eyes on her face and moved in harmony. She closed her eyes when he made her lie on his arm. She looked at him and he pulled her closer, making her stand up again and leaned closer to peck her lips, while she did the same back in the dazzling gleam of the moon. In those moments, the formidable Mafia lord became a vulnerable man. Vine's unique ability to guide him to a place of calmness was a testament to the connection they shared. The secret garden, hidden from the prying eyes of the underworld, became their refuge, a place where Jungkook could lay down the burden of his ruthless word. As Jungkook's anger dissipated like clouds parting after a storm, he opened his eyes to find Vine looking at him with unwavering support. In that shared moment, words were unnecessary. They understood each other in a language beyond the reach of the underworld's whispers. Their unconditional love story unfolded in the shadows, a dance between duty and desire. Vine became not just Jungkook's forced bride, but a pillar of strength, his partner in a world where trust was a rare thing.